So we just talked about how to recognize and avoid fraudulent emails. And if you missed that video, you're going to want to make sure and you go back and watch that one because it's really important and also really, it plays into this one a lot. So fraudulent websites look very real. This is a fraudulent website, and maybe the screenshot is a little bit too small to see, but it looks just like the Bank of America website, and the only way to tell that it's not is by looking at the URL. Now, if I received a fraudulent email like we discussed in the last video, and if it got me to click, and if I put in my login credentials here on this page, I'd be giving away access to my bank account. This is a fraudulent site, and this is not where you'd go to log into Bank of America, but it sure looks like it. So since the URL is the only way that we can tell that the page that we just saw was a fake website, how can we verify a URL? There's three things that we need to take a look at. The first one is the padlock. The padlock tells me that the connection is secure, but not necessarily that the site is legitimate. Number two, the S at the end of HTTP. We're real familiar with HTTP://. Well, there's also HTTPS://. The S at the end of HTTP in combination with the padlock means that the connection is secure, not necessarily that the site is legit. Really want to underline here, if there is no padlock, it is not a secure connection, even if it says HTTPS. So what does it mean to have a secure connection? Many legitimate sites are not configured to use HTTPS for secure connections. You won't see the padlock, and that's okay as long as you're not putting in things like your username or password, credit card information, address, like things like that. I wouldn't recommend sending that information over HTTP, over unsecure connections, because without that padlock, it's possible in theory for a hacker to intercept and read the web page when communicating between your computer and that website. But maybe the most important part of how to verify the URL is number three. And there's a lot of jargon on this page, but it's important. And we'll walk through it and then we'll see some examples. The top level domain, which we're very familiar with, the .com, .net, .org, .edu. There's a lot more new ones lately that you might see. So the top level domain is important. And then the second level domain, so what comes immediately before the top level domain. Those two things are going to tell you like where this site is actually from. How do you identify the top level domain? So look at the :// and then find the next slash if there is one. And whatever comes just before that next slash, in this case .com, that's going to be the top level domain. Once you've found the top level domain, it's the thing that comes immediately before that's the second level domain. So in this case, it's google.com. Here are a bunch of fraudulent URL examples that I made up. I made these links up. Please don't visit these sites. I don't know what is there. You should not find out. How do we know that each of these is fake? Well, the top level and the second level domains is not the correct URL in these examples. So in this first one, mygoogleaccount.com, it kind of looks kind of similar, right, to myaccount.google.com, right? Except this isn't the right URL. Google's URL should be google.com, not mygoogleaccount.com. And in any case, it's missing a C, right? There's only one C in that account. So remember that These hackers will often take advantage of very slight misspellings, things that look very close, especially if you have slightly impaired vision, um, or have difficulty reading it. So be very careful with that. Um, in the second example, this looks like it says Bank of America, except the lowercase r and the lowercase n is actually what makes up that M in America. Lowercase r and n next to each other can often easily be mistaken for an M, especially in certain fonts. So you'll want to be really, really careful. Usually you can tell, but just slightly. So make sure that you're looking closely, and be very, very cautious with that. This third example, online banking.wells-fargo.wells-fargo-online-banking.com. Many fake URLs will make the first part of that URL look legitimate, but that's not the important part. So in this case, the top level domain .com and the second level domain wells-fargo-online-banking.com, right? That's what the actual site is, and you don't want to go there. So if I saw this, don't get tricked into thinking, oh, it looks like online banking at Wells Fargo, right? Nope, don't go there. And the fourth example is kind of similar, right? Looks like it's twitter.com, but it's actually twitter-followers.link, and you don't want to go there. And this fifth example in green here is actually a legitimate URL shown here for contrast. So the top level domain here is .com, second level domain here is Google, so google.com. Taken together, that is a legitimate URL.